enemy is getting stronger. Alien is getting weaker. The enemy is getting... Alien is getting weaker. The enemy is getting... Alien is getting weaker. The enemy is getting stronger. Alien is... The enemy... Alien is getting weaker. The battle ends. Alien gains 6,660 experience points. Alien increases his experience level. Double tap to continue. After countless strikes on the outer part of his body, he finally dies. His casket-shaped body is now opened like a normal chest. Aside from the fact that the edges are covered with long, thin and sharp teeth, the content of the chest is an organic body with some organs like eyes, which now have an empty and vitreous gaze. Alien pierces the heart of the mimic, and it spills so much blood that he gets an amazing amount of 10 blood vials from it. When the corpse runs out of blood, it dries up and turns into dust. Alien returns to the treasure room to take another look at the scene of the massacre. Mankind's greed and foolishness makes them fight among themselves for something without any actual value, and this creates an endless cycle. That mimic looked like a punishment for them, but not even a terrible monster like that can stop this cycle. It's such an irony that there was nothing inside the cursed treasure, and that only Alien, who had nothing to do with this story, could find and appreciate the true treasure. Just more blood.
Control center. Airplane mode. Sound mode. Help. Select script locker. Text selected. Screen recording. Button. Direct touch area. Direct touch area.
To the hold. Shards of opened, closed chest. Those chests can... to the hold. Close. Opened chest. Someone took to the hold. Shards of flesh to the hold. You have reached Ghost Ship. Ghost. The battle begins. The battle ends. Alien gain to the treasure to below deck. You have reached Ghost to the hold, to the cabin, to the armory, to the hold, to the armory, hole, to the armory, to the hold. You have reached to the Ghost to below floor, to below. You have reached to the Ghost ship, to the cabin, to the armory. You have reached front, back exit. You have reached front to the hold. You have reached back to below deck. You have reached safe front egg to the main deck to save. You saved again front to the main
Control center. Airplane mode. Switch button off. Actions available. Direct touch area. Hellhunter. Anti-no men.
You have reached to the speedboat. You have reached speed to the Ghost ship to inside. You have reached speedboat. You saved Amelia. Amelia is glad to see Tool. There are many crew bed weapon to the wall, to the outside, to the cliffs, to the wall. Alien returned to the village. The situation has calmed a bit, but people are locked inside their homes, and a few other people are still playing the plague spreader and the vigilante. Apparently the plague spread further, and it might not stop. You have reached net to the villagers, to the speedboat. Amelia, Doctor. Amelia. She's going to sail as soon as Elian is ready to leave. Doctor. Nets. To the village, to the speed, to the... You have reached Harb Girl, plague spreader. The battle begins. The battle ends. Alien gains 5th to the wharf, to the main, to the unplague spreader. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 5th to the wharf. Girl. That girl saw Elian during his stay at the village and heard some stories about his travel. So she asks him if he can find her father. He left some months ago with a boat for work, but since that day, he never returned. Elian tells her that he will give it a try, but she shouldn't expect too much from him. She nods and thanks him in any case. While Elian is leaving, a thought comes to his mind. Shipwrecks in that area probably lead to the coast from which he arrived as well, and that means her. Elian's former captor is suddenly walking along with him. She's surprised that he's asking her if she remembers that man. Elian turns his head elsewhere and keeps going as if nothing happened. She follows him and leans her head towards his ear. She whispers to him that maybe he's right. She could have took care of him as well, like many, many others. She asks Elian not to be jealous about that. In the end, it might be worth a look in the caves of the abyss. although it's cruel to assume that the father of the girl is dead. The girl waits for Elian's news with a sparkle of hope in her eyes. Weathervane, to the main road, to the wharf, bench, to the wharf. You have reached net, Doctor. Emil, she's going to sail us to the speedboat. Doctor, he saw Elian stopping the crowd. The doctor thanks him and offers him 3 transfusion bags. Since they have been infected by some plague spreader, he can't use them anymore. He apparently noticed that Elian is not human and not a vampire. He simply accepts the gift without confirming anything and leaves. Elian obtained 3 blood vials. The doctor will be able to handle the situation from now on. Nets, they are you. Amelia, to the speed, to the village. Nets, to the to the wharf, to the harbour, to the underground, to the main road. You have reached edge of the road, saving point. You saved edge tap water. To the square, to the village, saving point. To the You have reached lamp vigilante. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains 50. Lamppost. Metaguy. To market. Metaguy. Metaguy has one last tip for Elian. He tells him that every place he's visited has at least one thing to do inside it. Main story aside. To market. To the main lamppost. To You have reached plague spreader. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains. Stands. Vigilante. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian to the tourist, to the square. Stands. To the tour. You have reached Harbour Village. The battle begins. The battle ends. To market. To market. You have reached to the Harbour Village. You have reached to the market, to the main road. You have to the village, to the square, tap water, to the You have reached bed, girl, Ben, the sea breeze damaged. Girl, the girl waits, plague spreader. The battle begins. The battle ends. Bench, Weathervane, plague spreader. The battle begins. The battle ends. Elian gains to the war. Girl, weather to the main road, to the underground. You have reached Rat Corp Iron Wheel. The chain of the iron wheel is strained, so the gate connected must be open. Will swipe Rat northwest, west, east eggs, iron wheel, Rat Corp, east eggs. You have reached to the main road, to the underground, to the wharf. You have reached to the speed, Amelia, to the. You have reached save tool. Amelia is glad to see. 2 crew medical bed weapon to the outside to the cliffs. Saving to the. You have reached to the background. To the plane to the hidden to the coast to the hidden. You have reached light to the cliff to the chemistry lab. Light to the cliff path to the chemistry lab. You have reached to the entrance pantry to the You have reached to the hidden to the chemistry lab. Blood. Metal tools, bowls, wooden group of saving point to the cave of the You have reached west, south, east, north, ceiling, pile, saving point. You saved the game. West exit.